let's say we want to do some, and it's again primarily for stabilizing, or to really work or increase the stabilization of a specific joint, work those stabilizing muscles, okay? So let's say I want to do some alternating isometrics to increase the stability of his shoulder, his glenohumeral joint. So I'd have him in this position, and then as, brain fart. And then I'm going to tell him to hold that position while I apply some resistance, okay? It's just going to be somewhat quick. It's not perturbations, those are different, okay? These are, again, strictly in a planar movement. So I'm just going to go push him down, or try and push him up, try and push him in, try and pull him out, okay? So I'm staying in a straight planar, those straight planar motions, okay? And he's just having to isometrically hold as I push him into those motions. And you hold it for a good, a couple seconds, 3 seconds, just so we can get some good recruitment. Now, if I want to do perturbations, that's totally different, and it's quite literally just this, going all over the place. He's still working stabilization, but it isn't technically alternating isometrics. Okay. Next, we have what's called rhythmic stabilization. Now we're getting some rotation into it. Now, typically, when you hear rhythmic stabilization, or when we're performing rhythmic stabilization exercises, we're talking about the trunk, okay? But you can use it for other joints that do allow rotation. The hip, or the shoulder, and the hip. The hip and the shoulder, okay? So for rhythmic stabilization of the shoulder, now I have him bend like that, which allows me to have a lever arm, and now I'm going to apply resistance, trying to get that rotation, okay? So it becomes rhythmic stabilization, okay? But again, typically when we talk about rhythmic stabilization, we're talking about the trunk. So to work that, I'm going to have you sit at the edge of the bed with your legs off there. Now I'm going to have him again hold an isometric contraction, and I can take one shoulder on the front and one shoulder on the back, and I can apply resistance in different directions. Now he's having to stabilize himself while I'm trying to push him into rotation. I can do it just at the shoulder. I can come down here at the hip and apply resistance like that, or like that. So I'm pushing and pulling in opposite directions. And that's the technical definition of rhythmic stabilization. We're primarily focusing on the trunk. You can do it in seated position. You can do it in a quadruped position. You can do it in a standing position. Doesn't matter. We're just isometric contraction and getting, again, some sort of rotational force. Okay? So that's rhythmic stabilization. And I think all of these definitions are on the stapled packet for you. Okay?
There's descriptions in the book too.
Yes, yes.
They're a little longer.
Next, let's talk about rhythmic rotation. Rhythmic rotation is a strategy that we use, or a technique that we utilize to decrease tone or decrease spasticity. If somebody's not letting us move them, and we determined that it's either high tone or they're spastic or anything like that, and spasming, and we want to decrease that so we can get more motion, then we'll do what's called this rhythmic rotation. Essentially all that is, I'll have you lie down again, is we're going to take the limb that we want to work on, and we're going to do the motion along the long axis, okay? Meaning we're just going to hold his leg like this, and we're just going to put a little traction on it, and then slowly go into a little rotation here. Because maybe we weren't getting as much hip flexion or even rotation as we wanted to, or we know that we could get. So we just kind of relax it a little bit, and then we see if we can't go through that motion more than we were previous. Okay? So that's rhythmic rotation. Very simple. The basic is that it's along that long axis.
So if you're doing a shoulder, it wouldn't be bent at the elbow.
You could, technically, but yeah, it would just be kind of like this. The benefit to doing it with the elbow straight is you're also getting those pronators and supinators, which could somewhat
So you could
affect.
do the hip with the knee bent then?
Technically could, just kind of do this, right?
I just wasn't sure
Again,
what you meant by long
where it's a
axis.
long axis, we're going along the entire thing and keeping it straight as possible, the entire limb. So those are kind of basic things and different ways that we can, they're all considered PNF techniques. But now I want to talk about slow reversal hold and then agonist contract. Okay? Or excuse me, agonist reversal. Slow reversal hold is very simple. It involves slow reversals, which we know are just a concentric contraction going in both directions. Okay? But now we add a hold to it. And the hold comes typically at the very end range. Okay? So let's say I'm going to do a hold reversal, or a slow reversal hold, and I want to do that at the end of D2 extension of the upper extremity, okay? So I'm here, I give him that quick stretch, he pulls me in, pull, 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 keep pulling, and then we come to the end range, and I would explain this to the patient prior, but once we come to that end range, I want you to keep pulling, and then I just hold an isometric contraction. Okay? And we could do it in the opposite direction, so now have them push, 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 push. We get to that end range, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, and now that end range I hold an isometric contraction. Okay, so you continue, you keep cueing your patient, push, 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 or pull, 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 even though we're at the end range, but now they're still doing it against resistance, and instead of concentric contraction, we've just got an isometric contraction. Okay, that's the true definition of slow reversal hold. There's nothing really that says you can't do it halfway through. We're here, and let's say we want to do an isometric contraction right here. We can hold it there, that's fine. But again, true definition of slow reversal hold is going to be that isometric contraction at end range. Okay? So that one's pretty easy. And then we've got agonistic reversal, which means that we're still utilizing the agonist, or the muscles that perform the motion, but now we're getting an eccentric contraction. So we are pulling them in the opposite direction. Okay? Depending on the strength of your patient, you may need to say, okay, once you get to that end, I want you to hold the contraction and then let me pull you out while you're still resisting me. Okay, so it would look something like this. So we're going to do D2 extension again. And then once we get down to that D2 extension, hold it, but let me pull you back out. Okay? So we start back up here. I give him that quick stretch. We get a concentric contraction. He's pulling me in. Pull, 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 pull. And then once we get here, now I pull him out into D2 flexion. So I'm getting an eccentric contraction. Do you see how we're getting that eccentric contraction? Because we just did a concentric and shortened the muscles by bringing him here, but now he's going to continue to contract. Now by pulling him into the opposite direction, back into D2 flexion, he's still working the muscles, but now we're elongating. So I would even have to open his fingers to get the full effect. That is agonistic reversal. Make sense? Okay. I know for sure because agonistic reversal is on your practice scenario when it says work them in eccentric pattern or eccentric